All right, so I'm Stacey Crawley, motivational speaker, mom empowerment coach. I'm so excited to be here. I'm so excited to talk to you guys and share my beautiful guests with you guys. I got to first start this off by telling you guys about what God laid on my heart. And that is the series, The Ugly Truth About Postpartum Depression. So a little bit about my story. I have 4 beautiful girls, all under the age of 8. I am married. I've been married almost 11 years. An amazing journey. Okay. It has not been easy. And just a year ago, I was suffering from postpartum depression myself. You guys will hear my story at some time very soon, but I wanted to get on here and I wanted to bring forth and bring a platform and start the conversation for other moms to get on here and tell their story, to let other moms know that you're not alone, that what you're going through, it's just the beginning and it's okay, right? It's just okay. And it's no fault of your own. But we want to start that conversation. The conversation is not being had. And so God laid it on my heart to say, listen, it is time for this to start happening. You have to start bringing my people up out of this bondage. You have to start breaking some chains and being that vessel that I need you to be, that I created for you to be. I need you to be that light. All right. So we're going to go ahead and start this broadcast, this live broadcast. And I just have to say this beautiful, phenomenal mama who is going to kick off the series for us today. You guys are in for a treat. It's going to be amazing. And her story is amazing. All right, guys. So what I'm going to start off by saying is the comments, we're just come on in, guys. We're ready. So we already have one person in here. Naomi, how you doing? Come on in. Everybody else, come on in. I'm going to go ahead and get started. All right. So our beautiful, amazing mama, Miss Shama Dominique. Okay. So Miss Shama,
yes,
without further ado, is a wife. She's a mom of 3. She is the founder of Mommies with Purpose, and she is on a mission to bridge the gap between mothers and their purpose. Isn't that magnificent? Okay, so listen, so many of us need that. We need to hear Shama. We need to hear what she has to say, because a lot of us lose ourselves in motherhood, and we need to know, we need to get back to that purpose that God created for us to do. All right, so without further ado, Miss Shama, please tell us a little bit more about yourself.
let's talk about it. It's crazy. When somebody actually tell you about yourself, you forget who you are as a person. I am Shama Dominique. I am also a wife, married to my husband of 6 years this year. We have 3 beautiful daughters, Julia, Juliet, Juliana. It's a tongue twister. It's not going to happen overnight. It's a process. Yes, we have 3 beautiful daughters, and we are located in GA, Atlanta, Georgia. And I started this journey with Mommies with Purpose. At first, I was an event designer for 5 years of my life. I devoted my whole life into creating a business, but it was always something missing. And I heard God put in my heart, in my state of depression, actually, Mommies with Purpose. And I was like, God, what is this? I don't know. I ain't doing nothing until I figured out what it is. So I sat on there for like 2 years, like we all do sometimes when we feel like we're not in control of whatever it is that we're going through. I sat for 2 years until God told me it's time. And I just had to yield to it. So I listened to God, follow his voice. And I realized in my season of hardship as a mother, I lost who I was as a person. And in my journey, on finding purpose and like listening to what God wants me to do, connecting with other mothers, bringing mothers up, I realized that it's still about us. You know, sometimes we get pregnant, it's like, okay, it's my baby now, you know, especially us, I know. But now it's like, God's like, no, you're still in the picture and your purpose is still wrapped up in your motherhood. So like you said, I'm on a mission to bridge that gap, because I want mothers to understand that you are far beyond only your motherhood. You're far beyond your children. You're even far beyond your marriage if you're married. Say hello. But you're even far beyond all of that. And God still has a purpose in mind. And your motherhood is just wrapped up in that journey. But that's me.
Well, thank you for being here with me, for kicking this series off. Thank you so much. like I said, you're such a dynamic mom, and our stories correlate. We've had great conversation and we correlate. Okay.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about, let's get on into it. Let's get to what the people came here for. So
Yeah.
I want to know, when did you first notice when you had postpartum depression? When did you first notice the symptoms, the onset of it?
Okay, so I actually had postpartum depression twice. I had it in my first pregnancy and my second pregnancy. My sister told me about it prior to me prior to me having my baby, but I was just like, oh, I don't think that would happen to me because, being a mom is the best day of your life. You living in your times. You know what I'm talking about? So I'm just like, okay, I guess postpartum depression, okay. And then eventually, after I had the baby, it was a few months later that I started to realize this up and down, like feeling of you're not enough, feeling of I'm ugly, feeling of just being so lost and not feeling like myself. And although I have the baby in my hand, it's like everything is supposed to be perfect right now. And why is it not perfect? So then I realized I decided to research it, and I read some of the symptoms and I realized that I had it. But I was just like, I don't know what to do about it. I don't know if I really should do something about it, because at first I was embarrassed. I was embarrassed, like, how could this even be true? Maybe I'm being ungrateful, and I'm getting quickly into mommy guilt. And to the point where my husband would remind me, you're still beautiful and things like that. And I just thought, okay, as long as he's still saying them things, I'm good. So, swept the depression under the rug. And then I got pregnant. I had my kids like back to back. I got pregnant again. And eventually, being pregnant, you're on the rise, you're excited for the baby. So you don't have to like focus in on what's really going on underneath. So I had a second baby kind of to distract me from what was going on. Whenever I felt like I was going through those high and those lows, I would go and search on baby clothes to get happy, or do certain things to replace the feeling of what I was feeling. Until after I gave birth, and I had such a traumatic birth, and afterward, I ended up having preeclampsia, and I had to go back. I had preeclampsia during my pregnancy, which caused me to like bleed out while you're having the baby, and that was a miracle in itself how I even pulled that through. But it took my body through this dramatic experience, and I got home, ended up getting post-eclampsia. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Was the second diagnosis, and I ended up having that, was hospitalized for I think like a week and a half. Got back home, and postpartum depression hit me like a ton of bricks. So like everything that I suppressed rose up again with all this extra current stuff, and I didn't realize that it was it because I was into the point where I suppressed it, then I went into denial. When my husband was like, hey, you're having certain symptoms, and my sister was like, I think you should pay attention to what's going on here, I was mad. I was isolating myself and being like, you're lying. That's not true. That's not true. And then it hit me when I was realizing that I couldn't connect with my children. And that to me, it crushed me, because I was like, how am I supposed to be a mom and I can't even connect with my kids right now? And I felt myself again, like sitting there playing with them, and I'm daydreaming, or I'm staring into thin air, thinking about what am I even doing here? Like questioning so many different things, to the point where it took my family to come together, like some of my sisters and my husband, to talk to my family to say like, hey, something's going on here, and we need to kind of rally together to figure this out. So I had to wake up and smell the coffee, and it rose up.
Wow. Whew, that's a lot. and I know that, going through it, you feel like you just can't come out of it. You're in a space where you're feeling, like you said, alone, feeling isolated. You could be in a room with 50 people and still feel like you're alone. Feeling like you're hopeless, like there's just no other way out of this. And even feeling like you don't even know who you are when you look at yourself in the mirror. So I can totally relate. I think a lot of moms out there, they're in that space, even, taking that step to get out of bed in the morning as a task. You know what I'm saying? So you get it. And then being hospitalized after having the baby and being away from your baby, that itself is tough. Postpartum preeclampsia is something that I had, like I said, when you and I talked, it's something that I went through as well, and I didn't even know it existed. And the thing It's on the rise, unfortunately. And that's what the doctor told me. I think it was 4 other moms when I went into the hospital for it. It was 4 other moms who was dealing with it at the same time. I
Yeah.
was shocked. I was shocked. So thank you for telling your story. So what I want to kind of transition into is you went through all of that. You endured all of that. You suffered all of that.
Mm-hmm.
How did you get to where you are today? This beautiful smile on your face. What did you do to get from that place of darkness to this place of where you are right now? Tell us how you did that.
Well, that season was, I can't even words. There's not even enough words to explain what you can go through. You're going through separation. You're going through your marriage on the rocks because you can't connect with people. But the steps that I took, and honestly, some of the hardest steps you have to take in order to get over postpartum depression. The first thing I did was to acknowledge where I was. You know, it's easy for us. It's hard, to be honest. It's hard to say, yo, I'm not in my right mind right now. It's hard to want to admit that something is wrong with you, but there's no way for you to actually take care of a problem or fix a problem if you're not acknowledging that there's a problem for real. They didn't heal, they didn't have all these remedies and stuff for cancer because somebody decided like, oh, okay, this disease was, it's gonna be here. No, somebody said there's a problem here and we need to find a cure. So it's like I had to acknowledge and wake up and smell the coffee like, Shama, something is wrong with you. And so many people around you, especially the ones that love you and see you day in and day out, are saying that something is wrong with you. So I had to take a look at myself to say, who do I know before this feeling right now? Who did I remember before this feeling? And it didn't match up with who I saw that day. And I realized at that point, something was wrong with me. I am going through postpartum depression. And the next step that I take was that I had to rally some people around me. One of the biggest things about postpartum depression is that it will separate you from those that you love the most too. You'll feel like everybody's against you. And the thing that I had to come to grips with is that my mental wasn't matching with my reality. The reality of it is that I had a whole plan of family. I have 10 brothers and sisters. No, me, 9 brothers and sisters. I am surrounded. Okay. I have babies. I am surrounded. I had a full house. I am surrounded. I have God. I am surrounded. It's like that didn't match up. So I had to realize like, I have people around me and I rallied them together and I let them know I got a problem and I knew it needed to be fixed. So at that point, I let them know where I was. Because acknowledging it and telling them, hey, I'm going through postpartum is one thing, but let them know where you are, exactly where you are. I say, where I am right now, I don't want to be around people. So if you see me that I'm getting too closed off, let's figure something out so I can get out the house. Or if you see that I'm not opening my mouth to talk, figure out a way that we can have a conversation. Force me to get uncomfortable so I can have breakthrough. Because the reality is that's a next step that I took, that I had to break some cycles in my life. I was in bed. We talk about those days, and when you wake up in the morning, you're just like, nah, I ain't feeling it today. I had those moments, but I had to force. I had to push it up. My husband said, "Let's go. We're going to breakfast. Like we're doing something. We're gonna get out. We're gonna take a drive." It's all about support and like really testing yourself and pushing yourself, even when you feel like it's not working. Because that's one thing. Again, postpartum depression will make you feel like what you're feeling is real. The fact of the matter is that it's really not.
Yes.
And the little progress that you think that you're not really making, you are making. If you decide, now I want to stay in bed today, and you take one toe out that bed, that is progress.
Okay. It's the little things, okay?
One step at a time.
Yes.
Don't credit where you are. If it looks different than yesterday, even if that looked like being in bed for 5 hours and then cooking for the kids and then taking care of whatever you got to take up and go back into bed, if the next day you do 4 hours in bed, that is still progress. It's little steps at a time. And I think what was the worst thing for me, Stacey, was that when I had the first episode of postpartum depression, I suppressed it. And the thing about postpartum depression is if you suppress it, you're getting deeper into your problems. You're getting deeper into the condition. So now the second time around, I had to do twice the work. Wow. So this really it's not a situation where it's like you can't fix nothing right now. Even the smallest thing of toxic thought that arise maybe from a symptom of postpartum depression, it can still be taken care of. So I
Yes.
really had to acknowledge it. I had to get people to surround me. I had to break some cycles. And to be honest, I literally had to switch up some toxic routines in my day. So like if I would have spent my time in bed, I said, okay, what's gonna be the difference today of my time in bed? And I got into writing. I got into writing even on the days that I didn't feel like writing. I would just write one word. How did you feel today? Lost. Boom. Lost. That's it. But even down the line, and I think the great thing about writing is that you have it in front of you, and then the next day when you look at it, you're like, okay, well today I feel so. If I flip that page and I see yesterday I was lost, but today I'm like so, that's progress. I can track my progress. I can track my record. Like something is shifting. There's an atmosphere change shifting. There's a cycle that I'm breaking here. And after that, meditating. Sometimes we like to do surface work, like, okay, God, thank you for get through this postpartum depression. Like, no, if you're a believer, you need to speak into your word. Because God's word is the one word that literally, when we talk about being stuck in your mentality, thinking that this is your reality, God's word is the clear truth. It's a difference between black and white.
Absolutely.
So if I stick to my word, if I meditate, if I write, if I'm breaking cycles, if that looks like exercise and doing whatever it is that you have to do, you are still making progress. So those were the steps that got me to where I'm at today. And the reason why you have to start creating cycles is because that's the way that the progress is going to happen. Sometimes you won't be able to, it's not something tangible you can track all the time. But when you look back, keep doing those things repeatedly and you'll find yourself on the other side. So those were the steps I took: acknowledging, getting people around me that's going to be accountable for me, breaking cycles and replacing them with something that I know is going to get me out of my condition.
Whew. All right now, so I hope you guys out there have your pen and paper and are taking notes because Miss Shama just dropped it down. Okay. If you are a mom who is going through this, a mom that you know is maybe going through this right now, please take notes. Please give this to her. If you are that mom, please take notes. Understand that this is for you. Okay. And so I'm just going to recap, even though I want to recap it again, just so that they can hear. Repetition is the best form of learning. All right. So, and let me know if I miss anything. And that's the reason why I was looking down, because I wanted to catch these gold nuggets. Okay. So you said you acknowledged where you were. That was so profound. You have to know where you are in order to know where you want to go, right?
Yeah.
You had to tap into your support network. That's huge. And like you said, so many times when we're in that space, we feel isolated. We feel like no one is there to help us, but they're waiting, but we have to extend ourselves and open up ourselves and be vulnerable enough to let them in, right? Yeah. And so you had to let them know where you were. You had to be able to communicate where you were, what you were dealing with, and had them to hold you accountable and force you to your breakthrough. Oh, that one's a good one. You had that was a good one. You have to celebrate your progress, no matter big or how small. And to me, everything is big. Everything is big in this journey when you are overcoming and dealing with postpartum depression. Like you said, getting that leg out that bed, going to take a shower, that's progress. Putting on some different clothes from 3 days before, that's progress. Writing your journal, that's progress. Okay. And then meditating and praying and calling on God and calling on that whatever higher power that you serve. In our case, we call on the name of the Lord. And so this is what you did. And that's important because he will keep you. And sometimes when you're in it, you don't think about it. And you feel like maybe he's forgotten about you and all that. And he says, no, I haven't forgotten about you. I would never leave you nor forsake you.
Right.
But ask me. I need you to ask me what you need from me. Right? And then create that cycle for success. Create that cycle of success and creating those new habits. Oh my gosh. Okay, so you dropped some bombs on us. So I want to know if there's anything else in you, any other advice in you that you would give a mom who is on this broadcast, who is going to see this, whether it's live or replay or anywhere else that this is going to float around the internet. What advice would you give that mom who may be going through this right now, outside of what you've already said?
Right. I think the biggest thing to repeat, we said it from the beginning, was you are not alone. It's easier said than done, and it's easier, said than felt. I think that's where I'm trying to go with it, but I think it's something that needs to be remembered. And it's like postpartum depression is one of those things that we don't talk about enough. And, we can highlight the great moments and the great journeys of motherhood. But if we're not talking about the tough stuff, what are we really doing?
Yes.
Situation here. And if you're battling postpartum depression, it's time for you to get up. It's time for you to get up. And I know it doesn't sound the best. I know it's not presented the best. But the fact of the matter is, you can get the support system. You can acknowledge where you are. But if you don't move, if you don't get up, if you don't push, if you don't try to get outside of that feeling, going against it, even if there's only so much that you can do. It's not the end. And it's literally, like she said, the beginning of your journey. Because I think once you're able to tackle postpartum depression, I felt so powerful on the other side of it. I just felt like, what else you got? There's a power when you're under attack, or when you feel like you're at the bottom and you get back on top. You already know where to operate. When you're starting to break cycles and replace it with certain things, you already know where you're operating from. So if you're not battling postpartum depression, and even if you are an aspiring mom, you don't have a kid yet, but you aspire to be a mom, this is still something that you can take into account. Because at the end of the day, postpartum depression, it will be here today, tomorrow, the next year after that. Even after we're long gone and the ones that come after us, this is still a thing and still on the rise.
Yes.
It doesn't matter if you're not in that season right now. Why prepare for it, and why like wait till it's here for us to kind of figure out what we got to do? If we can stumble over those things before they even come, or figure out what we can do, figure out the signs, figure out what type of things happen to your body, what type of mannerisms, things that you say, the way that you act, and we can catch those things early on before it gets further or before it even happens. We can save ourselves and save another mom. And mom, if you just feel like, well, someone's telling me to get up, it's not going to help me, I'll say, we'll find somebody. And there's a big situation of trying to get mental health and trying to get people to help you, like a therapist, or even a friend that can be accountable to you, a life coach, whatever the case may be. There's just so many things out there that this idea of like, that's, oh my God, how could you be doing that? You need to get the help that you deserve and the help that your child deserves. Because at the end of the day, your purpose relies on it, your family relies on it. You can do it. If it's not something that you feel like you can do, get somebody that you know. If they call you, if they ring your doorbell, you getting up out of that bed. We all have that, even if we don't feel like it's everybody around us, we all have that one person that if they just get on the phone and they can tell you the right thing, even if that's only God. Yes. If it just takes you to open in that Bible, one page, one verse, and God he knows the right words and the right thing to say to everybody, that they can just get up and he takes those dry bones and rise them up. So I'm telling you, it's all about the action. We can talk all day, moms, but we have to get in the action. We have to say action. It's time to go.
Yes. Whew. Wow. No. Let it flow. I'm telling you, this is real. This is something that a lot of us, we hide it. We suffer in silence, and the conversation is starting. It's starting. And I'm not going to stop until I continue to help other moms to tell their story so that we can get in front of it. And like you said, help other moms who are not, other women who are aspiring to be moms as well, to know what the signs are, to know what it feels like, so that they don't have to go deep in that hole like we did. Yeah. And so that's huge. I'm actually going to move on over to the comments, because I want to acknowledge, we have 8 people in the room. Thank you guys so much for being here. We have Naomi. Naomi said, my sister. She said, yes. She said, Kyle. We have Katrina. I believe it's Katrina. She said, we appreciated your transparency, Shama Lama. Also, how long did you experience postpartum depression?
I experienced postpartum depression. I think it would be a count of a year and a half that I had to go through that flow until I actually found breakthrough. And the thing about postpartum depression too, that it's one of those things, if not taken care of properly, it can easily come back up again. So it's like, that's what I'm saying about doing the real work, doing the things that can help. Because right now, at the moment for me, it was a year and a half. If I didn't do the work, that could have easily been a drag on 2 years, easily dragged on 2, 3 years, you know? So for me, thank God, it was a year and a half. And then I want you to know that it doesn't matter if it's a year, it doesn't matter if it's 5 years, it can still be turned around. It doesn't matter how long you're in that condition, it can still be turned around. As long as you do the work, you get accountability, and you acknowledge where you are at all times, it can still be turned around.
Thank you. And Katrina also had another question. She said, is there anything you can do to prevent postpartum depression?
For me, I can, based on what I've learned physically, it's something that just happens. So you can't really take a pill or do something specifically to prevent it from happening. But what you can do is prevent it from magnifying in your life. So if you do feel like it's coming about, if you do feel like you're showing symptoms, even if there's not a real like diagnosis or an actual place where you can say, I'm going through this, you can say like, it can't be prevented, but it can be prevented from magnifying. So taking steps, figuring out what it is that you need to do, getting the help that you need to the help that you need to get. Those are the things that are going to help you be sustained on this journey of recovery.
Awesome. Awesome. Oh, this has been amazing, Shama. Thank you so much. I'm just like, my heart is just so full right now. I just want the people to know where they can find you online. Can you tell us?
You can find me on Facebook. On Facebook, I have the Mommies with Purpose page. Follow and like, and I also have Instagram. Will be there next. I have Instagram. I have my page on there, and then I also have my main platform. While I'm all up in there engaging, YouTube is my main home. I have a YouTube channel called Mommies with Purpose, and I talk about everything. I talk about motherhood, but I'm mainly focusing on you moms because I want you to remember yourself in your journey. And we're going to talk about everything. Sometimes I'm going to talk about the good. I'm going to talk about sometimes I'm going to check you like a good sister, you know. But those are the places that you can find me active, you know, with my family, and, you know, check me out.
Yes, check out Shama. Guys, go over there, check out her pages. She's amazing. She tells her story. She talks about so many different things. She's an amazing, amazing woman of God. And I'm so excited you guys were here to kick off this series with me. We have another beautiful mom coming up tomorrow at 7 Eastern time on this very page. Okay. We're going to keep this going all during the month of October. This series, The Ugly Truth About Postpartum Depression, is going to continue. Okay. I don't know where God is going to lead me on this, but it will continue. Okay. So we don't know, but we're going to keep it going. All right. Thank you guys for being here. And hopefully I will see you guys again tomorrow with our other beautiful mama as well. We have one more. Oh, Naomi said yes. Oh, thank you, Naomi. Again, thank you guys for being here. I hope you guys have an amazing evening and talk to you guys soon. Bye.
Thank you.